In a quiet, picturesque valley nestled between rolling hills, the Amish community thrived in harmony with nature. Their way of life was a tapestry woven with tradition, simplicity, and sustainability. Among the many skills they mastered, food preservation stood out as a testament to their deep-rooted knowledge passed down through generations. While the modern world buzzed with the hum of refrigerators and the convenience of grocery stores, the Amish had perfected techniques that allowed them to live off their land, even in times of scarcity. One particularly fascinating method they employed was the preservation of eggs using lime water. This technique, though seemingly unconventional to outsiders, offered an astonishing solution for keeping eggs fresh for up to 15 years without any need for refrigeration. The process was simple yet effective. Fresh, unwashed eggs were gently submerged in a solution made from calcium hydroxide mixed with water. This mixture created a protective barrier around each egg shell, preventing oxygen and microorganisms from entering and causing spoilage. Evelyn, a spirited member of the community known for her culinary prowess, often shared her passion for this traditional method with anyone willing to listen. She would gather her neighbors on warm afternoons to demonstrate how to prepare lime water for egg preservation. As she spoke, her hands moved deftly, showcasing the ease with which one could engage in this age-old practice. "This is not just about keeping food," she would say, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "It's about embracing our heritage and ensuring we are prepared for whatever life throws our way." As Evelyn explained the process, she encouraged her friends to consider the nutritional value of eggs stored in lime water. Unlike commercially available eggs that often lost flavor and texture over time due to modern storage methods, those preserved using lime water retained their freshness and nutritional benefits virtually unchanged even after years in storage. Her neighbors marveled at how such a straightforward technique could yield results so impressive. But lime water was not the only tool in their arsenal. The Amish also utilized mineral oil as a means of preserving eggs, applying it carefully over the shells to create an additional protective layer against bacteria and air. Vinegar was another option. When combined with water in equal parts, it served as a natural disinfectant that could help prolong the shelf life of eggs without compromising their quality. Each method had its effectiveness and duration of preservation, yet Evelyn always emphasized that lime water was unmatched when it came to longevity. In sharing these techniques, Evelyn reinforced an underlying message. Self-sufficiency was not merely a choice but a necessity in their way of life. The community understood that relying on electricity and modern conveniences could lead to vulnerability during times of crisis, be it natural disasters or economic downturns. By honing these ancestral skills, they fortified their resilience against uncertainty. One summer afternoon, as the sun dipped low on the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Evelyn invited families from nearby farms to her homestead for an educational gathering. Children played nearby, while adults congregated around wooden tables laden with freshly harvested produce. A sense of camaraderie filled the air as Evelyn shared not only her knowledge of lime water, but also other essential preservation methods. She spoke passionately about storing food in cool, dry places, a principle that extended beyond just eggs. "It's all about respecting what nature gives us," she said while slicing into a homemade loaf of bread that had been stored properly for weeks. "The right environment can make all the difference." As she demonstrated how to keep vegetables crisp and fruits vibrant using simple techniques like drying or fermenting, everyone listened intently. In time, stories emerged from her audience, tales of family traditions passed down through generations or personal experiences during harsh winters when food supplies dwindled. These narratives intertwined with Evelyn's teachings created an enriching tapestry of shared wisdom. As twilight enveloped the valley and lanterns flickered to life, Evelyn realized she wasn't just imparting knowledge, she was fostering a renewed sense of purpose within her community. People left her home that night, armed not only with jars of lime water preserved eggs, but also with inspiration drawn from their collective heritage. Months turned into years as this small community continued practicing these ancient methods. They exchanged recipes and tips among themselves while teaching newcomers about food preservation's vital role in self-sustainability. Eventually, Word spread beyond their valley about these remarkable techniques. The notion that people could store eggs for decades without refrigeration intrigued many outside their circle. A local journalist named David caught wind of this remarkable story during his travels through rural America. Captivated by what he learned from conversations with Evelyn and others, he decided to document his findings, highlighting how such simple techniques could revolutionize modern food storage methods amid rising concerns over climate change and food security. His article resonated widely. It sparked interest across various communities seeking alternatives to reliance on electric-powered refrigeration systems. People began experimenting with lime water at home while forming groups dedicated solely to exploring traditional preservation techniques passed down through generations. Evelyn's humble kitchen became a hub for workshops where individuals from diverse backgrounds gathered eager to learn more about sustainable practices rooted in history. Through each demonstration, whether focused on lime water or alternative methods like mineral oil or vinegar, the essence remained consistent. Empowerment through knowledge forged strong connections among attendees who now understood they could take charge of their own food security. As seasons changed and years rolled forward, this once isolated practice spread far beyond its origins within Amish culture. It became emblematic of resilience born from heritage, a beacon guiding others towards sustainable living amidst an ever-changing world. Ultimately, Evelyn reflected on how one simple technique had transformed lives, not just by preserving eggs, but by nurturing self-sufficiency grounded in ancestral wisdom shared across generations. And so she continued sharing her passion with anyone willing to listen, knowing that every egg preserved held within it not just nourishment, but hope for future generations eager to embrace their roots, while cultivating new paths forward together. Evelyn's journey into the world of sustainable living did not stop at the preservation of eggs. Inspired by her success and the newfound appreciation from her community, she began to explore other traditional methods of food preservation that the Amish had honed over centuries. With each new technique she learned, Evelyn felt a deeper connection to the land and its cycles, as if she were weaving her own life into the fabric of history. One afternoon, while sifting through her grandmother's old recipe books, Evelyn stumbled upon a section dedicated to pickling vegetables. The vibrant photographs of jars brimming with colorful produce sparked an idea. She could hold a workshop in her community to teach others how to preserve not just eggs, but also seasonal vegetables. Excited by this prospect, she started gathering ingredients and supplies for her first class. As word spread about Evelyn's upcoming workshop, people began to express interest. Local farmers offered to donate fresh cucumbers, carrots, and green beans, eager to support this revival of traditional skills. On the day of the workshop, Evelyn transformed her backyard into a bustling hub of activity. Friends and neighbors filled the space, their laughter mingling with the sounds of chopping and bubbling pots. Evelyn guided them through the process of making dill pickles and spicy carrot sticks. She shared not only recipes but also stories about how these practices helped families survive harsh winters or periods of scarcity. The room was filled with an energy that felt timeless. They weren't just learning to pickle. They were reclaiming a way of life that had been almost forgotten. One participant, a young woman named Clara, expressed her frustration over constantly throwing away spoiled produce from her fridge. "I buy all these fresh veggies every week, but I can't keep up," she lamented. Evelyn nodded in understanding and explained how pickling not only extended the life of food but also enhanced its flavors. "Imagine opening a jar in mid-January," she said, "and tasting summer again. It's like holding on to sunshine." Clara's eyes lit up with enthusiasm as she considered the possibilities. Inspired by Evelyn's passion, Clara decided to embark on a personal mission to grow her own vegetable garden. That evening, amidst shared stories and laughter, seeds were planted, not just in soil but in minds eager for change. As weeks turned into months, Evelyn's workshops blossomed into a community movement. Each session attracted more participants eager to learn about fermentation, canning fruits, and drying herbs. With each new method they explored together, they forged friendships that deepened their commitment to sustainability. One day, while packing jars of homemade salsa to gift to her neighbors, Evelyn felt a sense of fulfillment wash over her. She realized that these gatherings were more than educational, they were a revival of community spirit. One chilly autumn evening, as they gathered around a fire pit after another successful workshop on making apple cider vinegar from fallen apples, Evelyn noticed that their conversations had shifted. People began discussing not only food preservation but also local farming practices and how to reduce waste in their daily lives. They spoke passionately about their experiences growing their own vegetables and preserving them for winter, a true cycle of nourishment and care. It was then that Evelyn decided it was time to expand their initiative further. Encouraged by the growing interest in sustainable practices within her community, she proposed creating a cooperative garden where families could come together to cultivate crops. This would allow them to share resources, knowledge, and labor while fostering connections that transcended generations. After weeks of planning and organizing meetings at the local library, they secured a piece of land just outside town, an overgrown plot that had once been neglected but now held immense potential for growth. They named it the Harvest Haven. On opening day, community members showed up with shovels and seeds in hand, ready to breathe new life into the soil. As they worked side by side under the warm sun, turning earth and planting seeds, Evelyn felt an overwhelming sense of unity among them. Laughter echoed as families shared stories from their childhoods about gardening with grandparents or canning with mothers in dimly lit kitchens. Every shovelful of dirt seemed infused with hope and purpose. Throughout the seasons that followed, the Harvest Haven thrived under the care of its community members. Rows of tomatoes glistened under sunlight, squash sprawled across trellises, herbs danced in the gentle breeze, all nurtured by hands eager for connection with nature and each other. Evelyn organized weekly gatherings at the garden where participants could share recipes inspired by their harvests or simply enjoy meals together under the open sky. As summer melted into fall once more, their hard work bore fruit, literally. The cooperative garden yielded bountiful crops which they preserved using all the techniques they had learned together, pickling cucumbers into crunchy spears, making jams from ripe berries, or fermenting cabbage into tangy sauerkraut. But it wasn't just about food preservation anymore. It had become a lifestyle, a pledge to honor traditions while adapting them for modern challenges. The community embraced not only gardening but also composting scraps from their kitchens and experimenting with permaculture principles, all inspired by ancestral wisdom, yet innovatively woven into contemporary practices. Evelyn stood one evening amidst jars stacked high on shelves within the Harvest Haven's communal kitchen, vibrant colors capturing memories of summers past, each jar representing a story shared over laughter or a lesson learned through trial and error. In those moments of quiet reflection surrounded by friends who had become family through shared endeavors came another realization. This movement was more than preserving food. It was about preserving culture, an invitation for future generations to reconnect with roots lost amidst urbanization. Her heart swelled with pride as she envisioned children roaming through rows of crops in search of ripe tomatoes or exploring fragrant herb beds while listening intently as elders passed down stories passed through generations long before theirs began. Months turned into years as seasons cycled around again. What started as a simple egg preservation technique had transformed lives far beyond one individual's efforts. It became an evolving tapestry woven together by countless hands striving towards sustainable living amidst an ever-changing world. Ultimately, Evelyn reflected on how one simple technique had transformed lives, not just by preserving eggs, but by nurturing self-sufficiency grounded in ancestral wisdom shared across generations. And so she continued sharing her passion with anyone willing to listen, knowing that every egg preserved held within it not just nourishment, but hope for future generations eager to embrace their roots, while cultivating new paths forward together. With each jar sealed tightly against time's passage, their contents ready to be enjoyed year after year, the legacy lived on. Resilient communities bound not merely by necessity, but driven forth by love for one another entwined within every bite taken from those cherished creations crafted amid laughter echoing beneath stars shimmering overhead like distant dreams waiting patiently until called upon again when needed most dearly. As the moonlight danced upon the surfaces of their carefully tended gardens, the Amish community thrived in a rhythm dictated by nature. Each season brought with it a cycle of planting, nurturing, and harvesting, but it was in the fall that the real magic happened. As the leaves turned to shades of gold and crimson, families gathered to celebrate their bounty with a harvest festival, a time-honored tradition where stories were shared and connections deepened. This particular autumn was special. Young Lydia had spent countless afternoons learning from her grandmother, Anna, the art of preserving not just food but family heritage. Together they prepared for the festival by gathering fruits and vegetables from their expansive fields. Lydia marveled at how her grandmother's hands moved with grace, each motion imbued with decades of knowledge passed down through generations. The kitchen filled with a sense of cinnamon and clove as they crafted apple butter, jars lined up like soldiers ready to face the winter. "Every jar tells a story," Anna said, her eyes twinkling as she sealed another batch. "It's not just about keeping our food fresh, it's about holding on to our memories." Lydia nodded, knowing that within each sweet spread lay fragments of laughter shared over breakfast tables and evenings spent recounting tales of their ancestors. But this year, there was an air of uncertainty hanging over them. The world outside their community had grown increasingly unpredictable. Weather patterns shifted unexpectedly, and rumors swirled about dwindling resources in nearby towns. The Amish had long relied on self-sufficiency, but even they felt a twinge of anxiety creeping in. Perhaps it was time to expand their methods, to think outside the box, while remaining rooted in tradition. As the days shortened and nights grew colder, whispers of experimentation began to circulate among the women in the community. Inspired by Anna's teachings on preservation techniques such as lime water for eggs, Lydia proposed they combine their efforts and share knowledge with one another. "What if we not only preserve what we grow but also explore new ways to extend our food supply?" she suggested during one evening gathering. The response was enthusiastic. Soon, groups formed, each focusing on different preservation methods. Some delved into fermentation while others experimented with drying herbs and fruits under the warm sun or in a low oven. Each woman brought her own touch to these age-old practices. Some infused garlic into their pickles while others added spices to enhance flavors. The once quiet evenings now echoed with excitement as they worked side by side. Lydia became captivated by fermentation, enchanted by the bubbling jars filled with vibrant vegetables transforming into tangy delights. She could almost hear her grandmother's voice guiding her. "Nature has a way of preserving itself if you let it." Weeks passed swiftly, and before they knew it, winter blanketed the landscape in white silence. The warmth of their kitchens contrasted sharply with the chill outside as they gathered for cooking sessions filled with laughter and camaraderie. Together they prepared hearty stews rich in flavor from preserved goods, sharing meals that spoke of resilience against adversity. One stormy night, while they huddled around flickering candles during a power outage, Lydia realized that this communal effort had sparked something more profound than just food preservation. It forged deeper connections among them all. Each dish served at their gatherings represented not only sustenance, but also love, a testament to their unity amid uncertain times. Word spread beyond their small village about this revival of ancestral techniques blended with modern ingenuity. Neighbors from nearby farms sought advice on how to extend their own supplies without relying solely on refrigeration or processed foods laden with preservatives. Inspired by this newfound interest, Lydia decided to host an open workshop where anyone curious about these methods could come together and learn. "Let's embrace our roots while cultivating new paths forward together," she declared passionately to those who gathered in her home. On the day of the workshop, people arrived bearing ingredients: cabbages for sauerkraut, jars for pickling, and eager smiles reflecting hope for a brighter future ahead. As they chopped, mixed, and laughed together under Lydia's guidance, something beautiful began to take shape. Not just jars filled with food, but also a tapestry woven from diverse stories shared among participants. Through this experience, Lydia understood that knowledge was meant to be shared. It created bonds that fortified communities against challenges that lay ahead. With each jar sealed tightly against time's passage, their contents ready to be enjoyed year after year, the legacy lived on, resilient communities bound not merely by necessity, but driven forth by love for one another, entwined within every bite taken from those cherished creations, crafted amid laughter echoing beneath stars shimmering overhead like distant dreams, waiting patiently until called upon again when needed most dearly. As winter faded away into spring's gentle embrace, Lydia found herself reflecting on everything she had learned, not only about preservation techniques, but also about people coming together in times of need. The workshops continued throughout the seasons. What began as mere curiosity blossomed into a movement where individuals recognized their power collectively. In every home throughout their valley stood shelves adorned with jars containing memories, bright colors glistening beneath sunlight streaming through windows, and within those jars lay promises that no matter what uncertainties may arise outside their doors, they would remain steadfast together as a community nurtured through love and resilience forged over countless generations past. And so it was that these traditions morphed into not just survival tactics but celebrations. Each gathering became an opportunity for gratitude, for food harvested from rich soil sustained by hard work and dedication, and recognition that every moment spent together fortified not just bodies, but spirits too. Lydia stood at her window one bright morning, gazing out at blooming fields alive with color, a reminder of life returning after winter's grasp, knowing well that whatever challenges awaited them beyond those familiar fences wouldn't stand a chance against hearts united under shared purpose fueled by unwavering determination. With every passing season came renewed hope, intertwined seamlessly within cycles both ancient yet ever-evolving, a gentle reminder etched deep within her soul. In embracing roots while cultivating new paths forward together lies true strength. A truth whispered through generations, echoed across valleys, weaving vibrant tapestries from threads spun intricately around love's enduring flame, illuminating even darkest nights, shining brightly against storms raging outside its embrace.